Now. It's 7 a.m. It's 7 a.m. Time for the opening drive.
Voted the best sports show in New Mexico.
For 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck.
A little bit of that gloom. No, go ahead, Mike. I hit what you were going to hit off the top.
11 seconds left. Saquon Singleton across the timeline for UNM. Singleton with a spin dribble. Singleton into the key. Right-hand runner, no good. Rebound of Van Stolen. Air Force can run out the clock. That'll do it. The Falcons will get the split. Air Force 62, UNM 55. Your final score at Clune Arena.
Sounded a little gloom when we did it. It's Robert Portnoy on the UNM radio network. Lobos lose in the afternoon, 62-55. Then the ladies got to take court. The ladies got to taste the Clune doom as well. Mike, if you want to take that out of our ears, that'd be cool. Good morning to you. Happy Thursday. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal. Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. Well, JJ, the Lobos men's women's doubleheader was about as rough as the opening to the show this morning for UNM. The men lose, and you were right, man. I mean, you know better than we, and I should have listened to you. You're the guy when it comes to Lady Lobos. Mike and I would have lost the mortgage, and you said it was going to be a tight game, and they could lose. And they ladies had a tight game, 75-73, and a game that, boy, that's the one they're going to look back on. I think when they don't win, or they don't at least have a tie for a Mountain West Conference championship.
Yeah, this is an Air Force team on the women's side that is really much better than their record, and they finally closed it out yesterday, took advantage of some of the Lobos' deficiencies on the defensive end. UNM battled back once again, 4 straight games trailing at half, and it was only a 6-point deficit this time 3-point deficit this time at halftime. But it was the execution late wasn't there for the women. They were unable to get a shot off on the final possession. The possession before that, they had the opportunity to tie or take a lead as well. And then Air Force just beat them defensively, went to a zone on the inbound pass, caught Shy Magruder off guard because they were running that same play that got Shy Magruder the go-ahead layup against Fresno State a couple weeks back. And a frustrating loss in a tight game for the women, and it was not a good day at Clune Arena, but it was a good day if you were a Falcon.
Yeah, no, good day. The Clune gloom for the Lobos was rough. The men lose 62-55. 2 days after, looking really good up there and looking like maybe they found something, and give it to Joe Scott and the Air Force coaching staff and figuring something out, double-teaming the bigs, and 2 nights after Valdir Manuel and Bayron Matos had their way, really, with the Air Force bigs, having their way with doing whatever they wanted. They missed 1 shot combined, really dominated. You saw a lot of double teams. You saw a whole lot of different personnel, and the Lobos had 10 assists to just 10 assists to 21 turnovers. 21 turnovers is not going to win a game on the road in any league, especially in this league when you're that team. And inconsistency in scoring. McQuatch Malawatch was the only one in double figures. He had 20 points and 5 rebounds. And Lobos regressed, whichever word you prefer. But with all the progress that I had felt that they had made coming out of the game on Tuesday night, I felt they digressed and looked like that same inconsistent team yesterday.
It's offensively, this team is so hit or miss that couldn't the bigs being taken away. Yesterday, it should have opened up perimeter opportunities, driving lanes for other players, but they struggled to execute. The first few minutes of that game were just so bad offensively for the Lobos, and then they let it hurt them early defensively. They weren't giving that same energy, that effort defensively, because once they locked back in, they made it really hard on Air Force. Like, there were plenty of stretches where Air Force didn't score the basketball yesterday in that game. But the ugly offense reared its head for UNM.
20 of 50 shooting, 50%. But first of all, 50 shots is just such a small number throughout the game. And I understand that you're playing an Air Force team who likes to slow it down, and they only took 52. But it's such a small number. To only get 10 assists throughout the game, we had commented a few days prior about how they were moving the basketball. And to your point, offensive consistency, or in this case, inconsistency, has just been, I don't know, the calling card, I think, of this team. You don't know what you're going to get night in and night out. And again, you look at Matos' numbers, 3 for 4 from the field, and Manuel 0 for 2. So after getting what, if I'm recalling correctly, I think they were 13 of 14 from the field combined 2 nights ago. They go 3 of 6 on this night, and that's you got to credit the defense of Air Force and what Joe Scott did. But at some point, then somebody's got to turn around and knock down shots. If I was playing this team, that's how I would guard them. I would double the ball every time it went in the post and make someone hit shots on me because they can't hit shots.
Absolutely. Double the post. You sag your defense inside, force them to play on the perimeter. As the Lobos, when they're good, they're getting the ball inside or they're attacking the basket off the dribble. And you saw yesterday that the perimeter should have been open. That ball should have been moving quicker out of the double team. And it wasn't. To your point in the shot attempts, that's also what happens when you turn the basketball over 21 times. You're not getting those shots up, and it's frustrating. And Paul Weir said it after the game with the team. It's 1 step forward and 2 steps back this season.
Yeah, and so they took 2 steps back and lose at Clune Arena. So 1 game left on the regular season schedule. That'll be the makeup game in Fort Collins next week. Then they go to the conference tournament, and I don't know, in some respects, I think many Lobo fans will say, mercifully, this will come to an end. And we'll see. For the ladies, they play 2 Colorado State next week, 2 as opposed to 1 for the men. They play Sunday at noon, right? Is that your next game?
So they got Utah State Sunday, Monday,
that's right.
then Colorado State Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah, so they still got a lot of work to do. I was really, I was, at the women's game. Just really, really surprised because it felt like to me that they were putting together, and I know they've been on a break too now, but they played 2 days, 1 night prior. The women are playing back-to-back nights. That one just surprised me a lot, and I didn't stare at it all night long, but and I know you did. I just, the inconsistency. Bradbury said, you play with fire, you're going to get burned, and being down at halftime. That's 4 games in a row now that they've been trailing at halftime, correct?
Yeah, it's a team that at this point in time, you know that they have some deficiencies on the defensive end. And so as good as they've been offensively, it doesn't leave you much margin for error if you're not clicking on all facets on offense. And yesterday that was the case. They played hard in the second half. They went to a zone in the third quarter, which really started to turn the game. But it was the points off turnovers. This Lobo team, while they're not going to lock you down in a lot of half-court sets, but if they can get some turnovers, get out in transition, that's where they make up for some of their areas that they lack defensively. And the night prior, they had 18 points off turnovers. They had 11 steals. Yesterday, just 10 points off turnovers. And it was Air Force that won the points off turnover battle. And the thing with this Air Force team, which is why I was like, pump the brakes. This has been a very disappointing season for Air Force. But there's 3 seniors on this team. One of those seniors is the program's all-time leading scorer, and Kaylin Immel. And then you have Emily Conroe, who's the 7th all-time leading scorer in program history. Cassie Huffman, a redshirt senior. When do you see a redshirt senior on an Air Force roster, but a 6'2" forward that has over 200 career blocks? So this has been a really disappointing season, but they got some players that are going to be a problem for any team that they line up against the rest of the way.
And all that said, and I look at what UNM's got, and I still believe, I did last night and I did yesterday, that they should go in there and be able to handle that. I look at the talent that's there. I look at there's just lack of consistency, and I understand everything that's going on. As much as everybody's talked about, what about the women? How come they're able to do it? They've had their struggles too. That hasn't been a consistent team. Now, I will accept the argument that Mike's teams over the years have struggled late in the season anyway, right? I mean, finishing the season strong has not been something that this team has done under Mike Bradbury. That's why I thought, this series and the next 2 were such important. I told you, a couple weeks ago before their latest COVID hiatus that they had an opportunity here, to be present and be successful and really somewhat capture the hearts of this community, right? If they make a run in basketball, especially with the men's team being so down. And B, I thought it was big for Bradbury because his teams have not finished well, and so it's still on the table for him. It's still there, but they have had really nice non-conference seasons. They've started well before, and they haven't performed well in the tournament, and B, they've limped home. And I think there's still that opportunity for them. But that's why I do think it's important for them to finish this season strong. And yeah, I get everything that's going on and everything that Paul Weir said about the men. While you haven't heard Bradbury be as vocal about it, same stuff's happening for them. And obviously it's hard for them to focus 2 nights in a row.
Yeah, I think it just goes back to some of the defensive deficiencies that they have, as Air Force scored 20 more points yesterday than their conference average. They're averaging 55 points per game. In Mountain West play, they got 66 and then 75. And to your point, yeah, the Lobo women are still talented. It was a moment, there were no excuses with Elise Hurst not being there. But you start to piece it together. And if things are going well, you hope maybe she can be back by the second Colorado State game, but at least get her back in a lineup for the Mountain West tournament. And that was the thing, that the depth hurt them yesterday. There were 2 players that did not play the day before that played yesterday for Air Force and combined scored 12 points. Yeah. But it is what it is at this point in time roster-wise for the Lobos. They have a shorter rotation overall, all hands on deck, got to play, played hard, but the execution wasn't there late.
How much of what they're going through, their inconsistency, do you think is the situation? They're in the same deal as the men, man. They're on the road. They're back and forth. They haven't played a home game. Bradbury said last night, with the loosening, and we'll get into that, of the restrictions, it doesn't matter if we play in an empty pit. We don't know the pit. We haven't played there at all. We haven't practiced there. No matter if we play there in an empty arena in Vegas. How much of this inconsistency do you think is attributed to the circumstances, what they're going through, because they're going through the same thing the men are?
You factor it in, but you also look at their team that they haven't lost back-to-back games yet this season. No. They're still 10-3 overall, so they've been the inconsistency at times, like in the games, has been there. To your point of they're trailing at halftime the last 4 games, but in terms of the scoreboard, they've been able to respond after they've lost a game.
Yeah. All right, here's what we're doing today. Jerry Palm will be with us at 8:30 this morning. We'll talk college basketball on the national landscape as we're getting closer and closer now to March. March will be on Monday. Of course, the madness will begin. Some conference tournaments next week, and then the conference tournaments, and then, of course, 2 weeks from Sunday is the NCAA selection Sunday. And so we're getting closer and closer. We'll talk to him about that. Your number to get in is 505-243-0610. That's area code 505-243-0610. Emails, Jeff at, what did I say?
505-246-0610. You said 243.
Yeah, let me give you the right number. Where the hell did that come from? 505-246-0610. Emails, Jeff at sportsanimallabq.com, JJ at sportsanimallabq.com. Twitter, great follow _JJ Buck, and on the Facebook, the OD and the AM. You can watch the show there, courtesy of ProView Networks. JJ, let's talk about the loosening of restrictions and what it may mean, what it may not mean, what it means in the immediate, but at least progress when it comes to some sort of movement. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM at AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Titus and Tate.
Let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy. It's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Going to hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovic.
That replay, I got you. Measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire in first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. They're looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
They'll throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up and wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Siembieda. Dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and...
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out. A foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And off. Great hit. He bounces off. Outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Pro.
3 seconds left. Torres Duff drives inside the kick out to De La Cerda. De La Cerda is not going to get the shot off. The Lobos do not get a shot off, and that'll do it. Air Force is victorious 75-73.
JJ Buck on the UNM Radio Network. UNM Sports Radio Network, I believe is the exact term. Is that right? 75-73. Lobos lose at Air Force last night on the ladies' side. You had a good one. I mean, at least you had a good game to call. But not
exciting game, not the finish you want. Not even getting a shot attempt up for UNM. But it was a good basketball game.
Yeah. JJ will be back on the radio. It'll be Sunday at noon in Utah State with Nikki Heckroth-Lobato. Okay. Opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal. We're also on ProView Networks. Josh and Jay Pole are producing for you on that side. So here's where we are. We got Lobo baseball at Santa Ana Star Field this weekend. They were going to El Paso. They were going to play in the Sod Poodles crib, and they get to call and say, "Hey guys, thanks, but you don't need to change the sheets or put out new clean towels. We're not coming." We got our own place to play, and we're allowed to. I don't know that I need to get into today. Why did it take so long, or where there's whatever. It's not wide open, and it was. I told you, this isn't going to be a wide open thing, but it's progress and it's movement, and it's quite a drastic loosening. And I know for many, the loosening and the addition of turquoise or whatever isn't enough, and I'm down, and I got you. But I told you weeks and months ago, whatever it was, I've adopted for my mental health the perspective of optimism and looking at the bright side. And so I'm going to take this as all bright. Outdoor venues currently in this county, which is in yellow, can operate activities, games at 25 fan capacity. April 8th is coming up in a month, in a couple of weeks. Maybe by then we can get to green. I don't know, to get to 50% for Isotopes. I don't know if John can open the building at 25%, to be honest with you, and have enough fan capacity to make it work. And he's got to figure that out. But certainly good news yesterday on the front to be able, Lobo baseball, tennis, golf, women's soccer can play at home.
Yeah, it caught me off guard. It was surprising because it's one that I haven't wanted to just sit there and assume, well, by this date. It was just, all right, whatever happens at this point in time, we'll deal with it. And then an announcement yesterday, huge for the outdoor sports. Still a lot of challenges, of course, when it comes to playing indoors. But as you said, it's that step forward. It's easing back in the process for everyone. Still a lot of work to do, but good to see that we're able to take one step forward.
Yeah, I think Ray Birmingham, with his woohoo yippee thing was really where he was. I think that was genuine, and being able to play some home. Look, they were going to play a 36 game conference schedule, and every home and home series against everybody, and having to do everything on the road. And Ray, he's not been traveling on the bus. He's driving behind the bus. So those are a lot of miles and long drives by himself. Going to Fresno, going to San Diego, going to Boise. I guess Boise's out, right? Boise doesn't play baseball anymore. But the long road trips. So he's still going to be doing that. But the key thing, and I brought this up, and I didn't want to be a killjoy, but this isn't over. Like this doesn't mean go out, and Ray brought it up on unsolicited on his end. Now it's a responsibility. Now they've got to do it responsibly. This is an opportunity now for all of us and whoever's putting on events to go out and do it responsibly, because you start having breakouts again and we get shut down again. And the virus obviously is still there. It's in lesser numbers, and you've all seen the numbers, and that's why we're getting to this point. It's not going to be like going to every game. It's not going to be packed. It's not going to be standing deep lines of concessions. I'm not even sure what they're going to do with restrooms. But just to be able to go, I'm going to try to get out and watch some baseball this weekend, just because I feel like, man, that would do my soul good,
Yeah, to have that experience at a live sporting event. Was it 347 days since the last live sporting event in the state of New Mexico? And yeah, that just, I don't care if it's limited crowd, whatever you have to do, distancing, but just to be able to be there is definitely going to be a feeling of joy.
Yeah, and obviously it's good news for Isotopes. It's good news for United. I don't know what it means for high school sports. So you saw a high school football schedule come out. And I don't know, JJ, do you have clarification? Are they at 25% too, or like fans going to be allowed, like their parents going to be allowed to go watch the games at 25%? I know we'd seen that no fans are going to be allowed, no parents are going to be allowed to go watch cross-country meets or high school football games or whatever. But now with this, do you have clarification? Do you know if those venues are also going to be 25%?
No, maybe the ProView guys.
Yeah, do you guys know? I mean, have you heard anything on that?
We haven't gotten any clarification yet, but we got the schedule just like you guys.
Yeah, so what did you guys think? I mean, you got a schedule now? I mean, for this is your business, right? ProView Networks has been, you guys run, air, produce, show high school games. You guys now have a schedule. It's got to be exciting for you guys.
Very exciting for us. I mean, especially came out, we're going to do some real Rancho games. They're home games for football, hopefully volleyball, soccer.
Right.
Gets some, hopefully bring whatever any Albuquerque ones. Hopefully APS, if they can hit their Hail Mary pass, score a touchdown, we'll be doing them. So we're excited.
What do you got locally? You got Hope and Academy locally, right?
Hope and Academy, we're talking, get them done. Maybe some St. Pius, just getting scheduled. Steve's talking, getting out. Now that it's actually come to fruition, we're excited and we're getting the wheels running. And I believe March 5th is the first game, so
which
we
is
will
next
be
week.
broadcasting the game. Yeah.
It's a big deal. And JJ, there's going to be a cross-country meet at Bosque Prep this weekend, which I believe to be the first high school sports event in the state since March 11th, if I'm not mistaken. So almost a full year. We're 2 weeks short of a full year. And it's just to see things moving was encouraging. And you know, I'm still very, very skeptical. I'm still very, very slow to accept that we're going to be there. I hope, and I'm not looking to be a killjoy. The killjoy would come if we regress and go backwards, have to shut it down. I hope we do it responsibly and realize, look, this thing's still there, and you still got to do all of these things that we've been now trained to do over the last 11 months. You still have to do all those things, but now you're getting to go do what a lot of the country has been doing and what you've been asking to do.
Yep, right there with you. Like I said, it's still a lot of work to be done, but it's the easing back into it, able to enjoy some different moments outside. I'm really excited for this, especially when it comes to soccer season. I talked with Heather Dyke a little bit yesterday. I'm like, you guys are actually going to play real live home games? She's like, yeah, I can't believe it. And a lot of this, too, is those coaches have seen what men's and women's basketball has been through. Mm-hmm. And they were ready for that challenge if it presented itself, but they knew, oh, man, you don't want to have your team on the road that long. You just don't. So what men and women's basketball has had to endure this season, it's the good job, good effort. Like, thanks for pushing through that, because that was ridiculously hard. And those other coaches saw it, and they were prepared, but still, it's a thing that you can prepare all you want, but till you're in it, you don't know the challenges that are going to arise. You just don't know how difficult it actually is. So I think that was, to Ray and to what Heather was saying, just relief of not having to have your team on the road for that amount of time.
They watched it, and they're living it to some respect, and they didn't want to do it. Are you going to get to do the TV games? Are you going to do Global Women's Soccer on the TV side?
We'll see. The opportunity arises, hopefully.
I don't know why else they would go anywhere else. There's nobody better in this town. That'd be good. All right, 505-246-0610. So want your thoughts on we call it a soft opening? I mean, what do you call it? It's a soft opening. We're moving, and you might be able to go see a game. You might be able to go see some music. You might be able to sit outside at a bar soon. We're moving, and Lowell baseball is playing at home this weekend, which is tremendous. And look, they still got to pass their COVID tests. So does Air Force. Everybody's still, there's still the protocols in place. All those things still exist. You're still going to probably be screened going into a building, going into an event. But we're moving, and it's a good sign. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Sports Network.
Moreno extra pass, and Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's gonna run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Domino Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. The lob to Agbaiosi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham. Lovato driving.
All right, reaction to Lobo basketball. I know there's not a lot. I get it. And Lobo basketball fans sitting there thinking, you know, what do you want me to say at this point? And I get it. What do you want me to say? Well, there's an effort. I think Micah, they're down to just get me through this thing. Just get me. I really think Lobo fan is just get me home. You know what I mean?
I might have missed on the women's game, but at least I hit the men's game.
Yeah, no, you did. You did hit on that. All right, it's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck. Micah produces on the radio side, and on the TV side, it's J. Pole and Josh piloting and co-piloting, and not necessarily that order. We got Jerry Palm coming up at 8:30 today. We can get into the Tigers situation. The authorities have ruled out drunk driving. There will be no investigation on the drunk driving, which I think I understand where the question came up, but I think, at least for me, that was where my mind never went to that at 7:12 in the morning. My mind went to, man, it was 7:10, 7:12. He had an 8 o'clock tee time. We might have been running late. What do we do when we run late? We go a little faster. We tend to text, hey, I'm on my way. Steep terrain didn't. I mean, my theory, and I have nothing other to base it on than what do I do when I'm running late? It just feels like he was on an uncertain, steep road, probably was going too fast and maybe texting and rolled the vehicle. But that was the news from yesterday. That noise you heard there was JJ Buck returning to your show. Welcome home. I had to acknowledge it. It was quite significant on that one. Sorry. I apologize. That one was loud. But the Tiger news yesterday that it's not a drunk driving situation, that they're not investigating that. I no surprise. But I think there were probably a lot of people who were relieved, and I don't know. Maybe the tabloids weren't relieved. I don't know. Maybe that's what they wanted. They wanted to be more salacious. I just never believed that that's where this was going to go.
I think it's just a situation when we've unfortunately seen an incident in the past where it was medications combined with other things for Tiger Woods. I would hope at that time in the morning it wouldn't be alcohol related, because then you obviously have a serious issue that you're dealing with. But I think just coming off another back surgery, that's always no question of what are you taking and what's your pain management situation like in that regard. So I think when it's a single vehicle accident, those things just naturally come in your mind of what did occur. But for Tiger Woods, it's just good to hear the surgery went well to this point. Of course, you got to monitor infection, see how it responds, but just the more you're learning, and that is just, you knew it was bad, but it got worse just in terms of the damage overall to that leg, to that ankle, and the specifics that are coming up.
As you heard probably yesterday during the day, there was a point where the surgeons were considering amputation of the right leg, where he was going to potentially lose the leg. They did save it. There were obviously the multiple fractures and the complexity of that, and then there was the muscle issues and all the nerve stuff and everything else that's going on in there. And I don't know that I think he's out of the woods in regards to what he's going to be able to do. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be. But just what I'm reading, I think he's out of the woods, at least in the immediate, in regards to saving the leg. But what will he be able to do? And you start thinking, all right, what do you do with that right leg? What's it athletically? I know that's where everybody's going. I'm just thinking, what do you do with that right leg as you're playing with your kid, man? I'm just thinking every day, you go through and you'll get here. Every day you wake up with it. So what was that? You get a different ache and pain as you get older. He's 45. He's starting to experience that because that body's been through a lot. JJ, the more I hear and I read on the, everybody's concerned, will he play golf? Will he play golf? Will he play golf? And I get it because he's the best we've ever seen. I'm going to tell you, fate, destiny, giving us the 2019 Masters. That might have been our gift as far as Tiger playing golf. I just listening to what they tell you the injuries are, and a 45-year-old man with also a bad back, and now just a completely shattered leg. I believe he'll be in a tournament, but competitively, man, this one's going to be tough.
And I think Roy McIlroy said it best yesterday. He's not Superman. And there was just an element of all the golfers they were talking to on tour, like Tiger Woods is their Michael Jordan. He's their Kobe Bryant. They idolize him. Tiger Woods changed the game of golf.
No doubt.
For so many people. And they've seen him come back. And I think that's what some of the initial reaction was. It was, oh, our thoughts are with Tiger, but we can't wait to see him back. We can't wait for Tiger Woods to be on the golf course. And then it was kind of Roy McIlroy yesterday, the first one that was like, this isn't about golf, y'all. Like, the dude's a human being who was just in a major car accident. You just hope that for his life, he can live his life fine the rest of the way, and then whatever happens with golf will happen. And I think as you learn more about this story, hear about the significant leg injury, that's where more and more people are going. And like, you're going to talk about it at some point, because that's why Tiger Woods is who he is, because of the game of golf. But I think more and more people are realizing that is a way off conversation and not one that matters right now.
Yeah, I told you yesterday, it was my first thought wasn't about golf. It was, man, will this man live? Okay, will this man play with his kids? Will he walk again? Can he play a recreational round of golf? Can he go hang out and walk the golf course while his son plays? Right? It's all those things. I think Rory's right. Now, I buy into, if anybody can do it, it would be that guy, because what we saw, like, I'll buy into that, and his fighting spirit and his physical spirit and his competitiveness and just his nature, and we've seen it, right? I told you, I'll hold on to it. Greatest comeback I've ever seen in sports is Tiger coming back from everything he came back and win the Masters at 3 years old at the time. He's also fighting time. This isn't a 27-year-old. I hear Ben Hogan. How old was Ben Hogan when he had the car wreck? I don't think he was 45. There's also fighting time. He's also fighting a bad back, and now he's got this. And I think Rory's right. Like, at some point, guys, he's human. And to your point on, this is their poster on their wall. Whatever it was, Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, and then the fact that they got to play with that guy. Right, all of this is really the first generation of star athletes, I believe, in any sport, that got to compete with the guy who was on their wall, that got to compete with their childhood idol and watch that guy win a championship. Now, maybe Tom Brady is the next one. I think there's some of these guys now that are in a locker room with Tom Brady that probably had Tom Brady posters on the wall, but Tom Brady didn't come back from this. But they're competing with it. But this guy is why Tony Finau's in golf, right? Why so many? And without a question, this guy is the guy they're making so much damn money. This guy raised, right? This is the guy, and so there is an incredible attachment, especially for the American players, because he's been part of the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup teams, whether a captain or player. There's an incredible attachment to him, and Justin Thomas is 20-something years old, and called him one of my closest friends, right? That's what he's become. So this is a different athlete than we've seen to these guys. I don't really have a comparison. Kobe played with younger guys, LeBron's playing with younger guys, but everything he came back, the man's 45 years old. And won a championship 2 years ago at the Masters. And so it is a different cat. And so I understand how they're looking at him differently and going, man, well, I can't wait to see him back out here. I think Rory, and you got one of them, Micah, you got one of those Rory clips. What Rory said kind of hits it on the head.
The things he had to deal with to get to that point to win Augusta in 2019, I don't want to take anything away from what Ben Hogan did after his car crash, or any of the other comebacks that athletes have had in other sports, but right now I can't think of any greater comeback in sports than the one that, the journey that he made from that lunch we had in 2017 to winning the Masters a couple of years later.
Yeah, Rory talked about 2017. They're both Nike guys. Then they became close. How Tiger he was done. You've heard the stories of the Champions Dinner at the Masters where he had to get up. He couldn't sit at the table that long because his back was hurt, and he told Jack Nicklaus, "I'm done. I can't play anymore." This is a different beast now.
Yeah, now it's everything. It's learning to walk on that reconstructed leg, weight-bearing issues, and the further thing from your mind is, what kind of torque am I going to get in my back and my legs on a swing? There's so much to do, and I think it's a lot of that is what you just laid out, going back to, this is the guy that so many idolize, that they've had this incredible moment to play the game of golf with one of their idols at a high level. Because to your point, a lot of times you don't get that. If you do, it's, there's the great, but he's playing 10 minutes a game. Like, yeah. But he can't score anymore. And that wasn't the case with Tiger. He's still a very competitive golfer. And I think that's why there was just that mindset for so many players this week. Yeah, I think to some respect, the guys who played with Kobe at the end were there, right? But Kobe didn't win anything his last 5 years. Yeah, he scored 70. What did he score? 60 points in his last game, which was one of the most unbelievable things ever. But Kobe wasn't Kobe at the end, right? I mean, Willie Mays, I remember with the Mets, he wasn't Willie Mays. Guys were playing. But Tom Brady, to me, is a little different. But the interaction that they've had, and the other piece is, you play with a guy on your team, right? So there'll be 25 baseball players or 15 basketball players. Golf is different. He's on tour. He's with all of them. Like the relationship that, I'm not gonna tell you everyone. I haven't heard Bubba say much, or some of these guys, but the relationship that he's got with, especially the young American players, and Rory, who's Northern Ireland, is like nothing I've ever seen. But JJ, the body heals so much differently at 28 than it does at 45. I mean, and that's just unfortunately reality, and that's why I'm with Rory on this, man. The last thing on my mind, although it is on my mind because it's you're reminded, is him playing competitive golf again. It's more, damn, can Tiger be at these events? Can Tiger be at the Masters with Jack and Gary Player and hit some of those first drives at some point, or take over that mantle when he's done playing? Will he be there? Will he? Can he be on commentary? Will he be out there when his kids playing golf? That's what was on my mind. Tap the brakes, and I'll tell you, if he plays golf again, my gut says he's gonna find a way to get back into a tournament. Now, can he be competitive is a whole other world. And that might be 2 years from now, JJ. It might not be until 2023 where we see Tiger come out at the Genesis where he's hosting it and tee off, and that is going to be one of the greatest things ever. And will he be competitive is another story. My gut tells me he's going to find a way to get, if it's physically possible. And again, let's watch this shattered leg respond. But getting back to the Willie Mays level with the Mets, or Michael Jordan with the Wizards, as opposed to being Tiger Woods, is a whole other story. Yeah, I do believe we'll see Tiger on the golf course again, but I don't think it will be, can Tiger Woods win this major? Yeah. All right, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. Want your thoughts on Tiger? Lobo men and women last night, certainly the loosening of restrictions here in the state. JJ, I got a correspondence. One of our listeners, Howie, is concerned about the Lakers. They've lost 3 in a row and got blued out of the built in Salt Lake City last night. Should you be concerned? That's next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM. But hold on, an AM 610, the Sports Animal. And speaking of easing back into things, are you looking to kickstart your fitness or even take it up a notch? I know with the news lately, a lot more of you are probably thinking about, all right, can I start getting out there? What can I do? Well, let me tell you about F45 functional training. What does the 45 mean? It means 45 minutes. The class is only 45 minutes long, so you're not going to have to spend hours in the gym. And what I love about it, it's a mix of circuit training and high-intensity training. and it's for all levels. If you're looking to get back into it or challenge yourself to get to another level, F45 Training is the place you need to go. They're certified trainers, team training atmosphere, and it absolutely will help you on all levels. They're open 7 days a week, so classes on Sunday morning are actually awesome. I got one booked. I will be there this weekend. It's a great atmosphere, but also it is still a safe atmosphere. That is why you have to book classes. So go to f45training.com or download the F45 app so you can see the classes are available. And that's the thing. You're not going to do the same thing every day. It can be overwhelming to just get back to the gym, stare at a bunch of weights, and go, well, what am I supposed to do? With F45, the training sessions are mapped out every single day. And it's also great because on the wall they have monitors that remind you the sets, what exercises you're doing, help you keep on track, help you in your station as you move from station to station to keep it safe, to keep it sanitized, and to keep you going. Check them out. They're located 5920 Holly Northeast. That's great access from Paseo and I-25. Check out the schedule, f45training.com. Download the F45 app to see what's available, and you can try a 7-day free trial for the training. I will see you at F45 Training.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores. Cut into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo. Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on and goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Danion stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
has that ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Forward dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
The whole little jump step in the... And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Tournament. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. Jalen Bond back, alley-oop, put it down. Dunkalicious, how about it?
Don't sacrifice.
We all got to do a better job of, in our own individual self that will carry on to the team and, and pick up in AD's and Dennis, absence. We just hit a rough patch, and it happens throughout the course of a season. You don't want it to happen, but when it does, I think it defines character. It challenges you, and, you just get ready for the bounce back. So you learn from tonight, learn from the previous games, and then get ready for the next one.
It's LeBron James after a Laker loss last night. And loss isn't, it's a loss. They got blued out of the built yesterday, 114-89 in Salt Lake City by, again, the team with the best record in the league. Utah's won 15 straight at home, and they are 26-6 overall. And they look like the best team in the league last night. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, and Micah, Josh, and Jason. And Joseph's there too. Throw in another J. Throw another J into the room. Why not? JJ, look, the Lakers are playing without Anthony Davis with a calf strain. Schroeder's out. Dennis Schroeder's got health and safety protocols, so he wasn't there. So they're without their best shooter and without maybe their best player. I mean, LeBron is, but Anthony Davis is maybe the second best player in the league in some people's minds. I'm not concerned. And I heard Mark Jackson say on the broadcast last night that the concerning part is you can lose, but you don't lose like this. You don't just get run. But he said what I said yesterday. They can be a 1 seed or an 8 seed. If they're healthy, they can make a run.
Yeah, the concerning part is you don't like the 2-point loss to the Miami Heat. You don't like losing to Washington in overtime when you had the opportunity to close out the game, the prior contest. Those are the ones that is rough right now. But you're going up against the best team in the Western Conference at this moment in time, the Utah Jazz that blew out the building, the best 3-point shooting team in the league. That's not concerning to me. That's what should happen. The Jazz should beat the Lakers like that without those players.
Like that?
That's reality. Because without Anthony Davis, they don't have the same defensive principles and count on Marc Gasol or Montrezl Harrell to slow down anyone. On the perimeter, Alex Caruso, KCP, Wes Matthews, that's a nice core when you have AD and LeBron, but you're going up against the best team at this moment in the Western Conference. And we're not talking about championship, we're talking about what happened last night. And it was Utah is the better basketball team at this moment in time. And for the Lakers, they know, all right, if you get AD back, Schroeder back off the protocols, they're going to be right there. So I wasn't concerned with last night's game. You got to give credit to ballers at some point in time, and that's the Utah Jazz because they are doing that to everyone.
Yeah, if you haven't looked at what they're doing, I mean, take a look. They were impressive. Donovan Mitchell was so good last night. He should have had the triple-double. Guys were just not finishing assists at the end of the game, but he finished with 13, 10, and 8. The Lakers had 3 guys in double figures. It was LeBron at 19, Markieff Morris with 12, and then Montrezl Harrell came off the bench for 16. To your point, no one was able to score. And when they're out without Schroeder, without Davis, that's where you need Caldwell Pope to score. You need more guys coming off the bench. Kuzma's got to be more consistent than to go out there and give you 25 minutes and just 5 points and 2 rebounds, or 5 points. I guess 7 rebounds last night. They've got to be able to score. LeBron can't do it all, and to the whole, is LeBron needs some rest. Yeah, at this point, he's 36, 37 years old, playing every night and carrying a load. He played minutes-wise last night. He only played 28 because he didn't play the fourth quarter.
2 minutes.
But he needs a night off some point. And I know he's not going to do it because his teammates need him and his guys need him. And at some point, you know what? To me, it doesn't matter if the Lakers finish 1st or 8th. As long as they're healthy when you get to that tournament, they're still the favorite. And they could be coming out of the 8 hole, and they'd be the favorite.
Yeah, and to me, it just goes back to defensively. With Kyle Kuzma, that situation, he's going to be hit or miss. Like, he's not this dude that everyone assumed he was going to be, like, the Robin to LeBron James. He's third or fourth piece. Sometimes have a good scoring night, other nights not. They need AD to be the defensive team because that's where they make the biggest difference, and you start laying out contenders, championship teams, is when the Lakers are on, they can be the best defensive team in the league. Without Anthony Davis, you have a huge hole on the defensive end, and you saw that just trying to slow down anything that Utah Jazz team does or what Washington did in the previous game. But that's why I'm not concerned about the Lakers. The only concern is if Anthony Davis has a legit Achilles problem, then they're not winning a championship.
All right. We can talk more hoops if you want. We got NFL stuff we've got to get there as well. Jerry Palm's going to be with us coming up at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour, 8:30 this morning. He will be with us. More into tech. I got a bunch of thoughts from you on the emails that I get, and I will do that as well. 505-246-0610. That's correct, Micah? 505-246-0610. That's how you get to us today. Emails Jeff or JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. Good follow if you're not doing it on the Twitter. _JJ Buck, and we're on ProView Networks. Watch us on their YouTube page or on our Facebook page, the OD and the AM. It's the opening drive on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
When you're in a hurry, Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
I'll just get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll
just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's going to fire at the buzzer, and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much. Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism, and then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Could have said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we can see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
B. Hill, the senior top.
No!
your Albuquerque Isotopes. We are very appreciative of Governor Lujan Grisham, her Chief of Staff Matt Garcia, and everyone involved in making today's game-changing announcement. We have a pathway to open the stadium to our fans. We pledge to do our best to ensure the fans' return to the ballpark is done safely and in accordance with COVID-safe practices. We're hopeful that Major League Baseball will continue to stay on course with our scheduled April 8th opening night, and soon we can 100 confirm that it's time to play ball. Huh? Play ball. Boy, JJ, Micah, I'm yearning to sit out on a nice evening, pair of shorts, watch the sun go down, see the mountains turn colors, have a beer, something to eat, and sit with my daughter and just talk baseball and talk life and watch the ball game. I mean, it's one of those things, and you're going to get to do it soon. You can go to Lobo Baseball this weekend if you want. If you can get a ticket, they're going to have 25% capacity. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck. Glad you're with us. 505-246-0610 is how to get to us. 888-922-0610. And you can send those emails, Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com, JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. Get you a few emails as we go through this, and you've got a lot of opinions on this. Dear Governor Lujan Grisham, this says, thank you for reopening University Arena on the day of our final regularly scheduled game. Our 2-14 road-weary record has put the Lobo basketball team in jeopardy and probably cost me my job. Signed, Dr. Paul Weir. It's from Les. Is it too little too late for basketball? It is. It's too little too late for basketball. But as you move forward, is it good for baseball? Is it good for United? Is it good for the timing of the virus? There's no good timing on this. Was JJ? I just read this letter that Les put in, and basically he signed it from Dr. Paul Weir. Said, "Thank you, Governor, for costing me my job and putting Lobo basketball in jeopardy." The timing is rough. Look forward. It's all you can do, because you got an opportunity now. You can watch a ball game this weekend, JJ. If you pick up your media pass, let them know you're going to go. You and maybe even young Austin can go watch a ball game.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. Moving forward, and like I said, easing back. Still got a lot of work to do. We don't want to lose this opportunity. We don't want to take a huge step back, but these opportunities, when they present themselves, do them in the right way, enjoy them. Some baseball, some other events moving forward, some high school sports, and just take it for what it is right now. Because what's the easiest thing to do? Hindsight. Question yourself. Always
complain.
Look back. But we're here. Complain. That's at the top. That's the easiest thing to do about everything. But here we are right now. The path that has been presented to us. Let's go.
Tellis says, I hope that Dr. Paul Weir heard me in Colorado Springs screaming all the way from my living room, Jeff. Get the damn ball to McQuatch Malwatch. He had 14 field goal attempts. So he needs to be at 20 to 25 minimum for Lobo basketball to have a chance. Unfortunately, normally I tell you you're out of your mind. But unfortunately, I don't know that he's wrong on this particular team.
And when games get tough like that, that's when you'd like to see Malwatch step up a little bit. But guess what? He wasn't getting good looks against Air Force either. They were putting some different looks at him, and Malwatch struggled some. And that's what you get with this Lobo team, is offensively they can have some bad stretches.
I don't have a PhD in basketball. I know the game a little bit. If I was playing Lobo basketball and we did a film session, ball goes into the post, double team. Rotate. Ball goes to Malwatch. Double team him too. Make that guy or that guy or that guy or that guy or that guy beat me. If I get beat by Singleton or Francis or Marin or Johnson, all right, I'll eat that one. Malwatch isn't going to beat me, and double team the bigs. Let's see what they can do. I mean, it's honestly, that's just the construction of this roster. It's not that hard, is it?
No, that's...
I mean, would you do something differently?
The Lobos, and you take away what little strength they do have on the offensive side.
Yeah, would you do the same thing?
I would. And you look at Malawach last night, only 2 turnovers in his game. And so when you look at the 14 shots attempted, a lot of that too, I think it goes back to the overall turnovers for the Lobos. They had a lot of empty possessions, regardless if Malawach had the ball or not, so they didn't get up the field goal attempts.
All right, I got another one of basketball. Jack says, never seen this before, Jeffy. Air Force had 29 points when I went outside to watch my ride. I did not call on the spot. When I was done an hour later, I returned to the computer screen, and Air Force still had 29 points. I thought the crummy MWC stream had frozen, but nope. That was the accurate score. I went to the play-by-play, and the Flyboys went 15 game minutes, not minutes, game minutes without a field goal from 6:30 left in the first until 11:30 left in the second, and they still bleeping won. It's from Jack. Yeah, welcome to. That's why Air Force New Mexico might have been on the stream instead of on a network too. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Remember when every Lobo game, like that was the desired game? Lobo San Diego State featured game. We got to put it in the prime spot, right?
Well, it's also they're dealing with a lot of rescheduled contests, so not as many open TV windows at the end of the season.
Yeah, but this wasn't rescheduled. But yes, you're right. James says that women's basketball opening needs work, Jeff. The big voice guy needs to change the intro. It needs to read like this. Exciting Lady Lobo basketball is on the air. It's a half hour till post time. With the call, it's the co-hosts of the award-winning opening drive, J.J. Buck and former Lobo great Nikki Heckroth. Here's J.J. and Nikki. I don't do voice guy well, but I don't know. That's what James wants. He rewrote your open. Can you get that up? I'll send it to you so you can get it up to the voice guy.
I'll pass it along.
All right, yeah, make sure. Glenn says, between Lance's story of getting even with the guy that messed up his haul, and those were the days, yesterday's show may have just won the OD another award, Jeff. Got a lot of response on the Edith yesterday. Jeff says to me, on Tiger, if there's one thing I learned, don't count Tiger out. He probably called Alex Smith on the way to the hospital asking about the center for the Intrepid in San Antonio, where he in the military rehab. He's right. I brought up Alex Smith yesterday. Like, don't count him out. I'm reading what they're telling me happened to his leg, and I'm telling you that the man's still human. And oh, by the way, he's a 45-year-old human, and they're telling me they almost amputated that leg. And that's what they told you about Alex Smith. Alex Smith was 35, 34 when that went down. Tiger's 45. Bad back. Alex Smith was relatively healthy, right?
Yeah. So Alex Smith is, 38 now? And was that
so he was 36
3 years ago?
Yeah, 35, 36. Yeah. Yeah, it's a decade, man. It's a decade. That's, a 10th of your natural life, if not more, right? 15th of your natural life. Yeah. If anybody, I firmly believe if anybody comes back, and I do believe we'll see Tiger Woods on a golf course. I mean, assuming he gets that leg is within the scope of being able to be functioning. I do believe like the goal will be I want to be in a tournament, and you might see him at the Genesis or Pebble Beach or something. I'm going to guess certainly not this year. I would guess maybe not even next year, but 2023. Are you going to tell me, like, if you had to put money on this? I remember the last week we were saying, you and me, who's going to win another championship, Tom Brady or Tiger Woods? And we went Tiger because he could win one when he's 56, right? But if you were going to bet now, yay or nay, are you going to see Tiger tee it up in another tournament? The answer would be yes. And if he's going to do that, he'll probably tee it up at the Masters because he's qualified for life.
Yes, I do believe Tiger is going to have his final moment be on the golf course. If he can get there, whether or not he's competitive in a tournament, or even if it's just, as you said, like a ceremonial moment where he's teeing off to start a tournament. We will see that with Tiger Woods. Will we ever see him be able to compete in a major golf tournament? I have no idea, man. Like, what sense does it make to have a hot take about that right now after the dude just wrecked himself in a car crash? Like,
yeah,
to
you
me,
have no idea if he'll walk again.
Yeah, like I'm like, wow, that's what I want to hear. You have a hot take on Tiger Woods winning a major tournament after he almost lost his leg.
Yeah, good luck to you. Good luck to you. We'll hear more Rory when we come back on that. 505-246-0610. Jerry Palm's going to be with us at the bottom of the hour, coming up at 8:30. Hey, who's watching your home? Who's providing your security? For us, it's IPS, and it gives us peace of mind. We go outside on a regular basis, and there's the officer just coming by. Addie will go out and run and wave at the IPS officer who's by, watching the house, making sure she's good and the house is good. We entrust our home security to International Protective Service, and I think you should too. They monitor the home. If we go out of town, they come by and do an exterior check every day, pick up the mail if we ask them to, the newspapers if we have one, roll your garbage cans to the curb and back, give your home that lived-in look. And I know a lot of you have trusted local companies, and now you're being sold. You're going to be part of a big national conglomerate. That's not what you signed up for. Aaron Jones and International Protective Service are invested in this community. They care about your home and business security like it's their own. I suggest you let their highly trained armed guards or 24-hour patrols at IPS protect what is yours. Don't wait until something bad happens. Call IPS, get that peace of mind, and protect your property. 505-897-2420 is the number. That's 505-897-2420. You can visit them at ipsglobal.com.
This season's hottest collection.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle's got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown. Portell.
Davis in the play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. Back to toss, and he's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
Hey, we told you he
touchdown.
Could spin that football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the win in his back, but.
as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's going to walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provides some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out! See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. All day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man! Touchdown! Wildcats! Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Kowski on the sideline! Hasta mañana! He's off to the races! Touchdown, Clovis!
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24, Rancho, late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman, he's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine!
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's Krebs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is, a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
Superman. You know what I mean? He's not like, you know, he's a human being at the end of the day, and you know he's already been through so much. So at this stage, I think everyone should just be grateful that he's here, that he's alive, that his kids haven't lost their dad. That's the most important thing. Golf is so far from the equation right now. It's not even on the map at this point.
It's Rory McIlroy, and thank you for that perspective. Yes. He's not a robot. He's not a machine, and even if he was a machine, screws in machines sometimes come loose or a belt snaps and they need to be fixed. He's a human being. He's talking about Tiger Woods, certainly, and that's of all the golfers. And I mean, aside from Justin Thomas, who just said, "I'm sick to my stomach," and you know, there's one of your best friends who, you know, you thought maybe died in a wreck. It's the best perspective I've heard. And with all due respect, it wasn't really fair on Tuesday, JJ, when it went down. You've got, you know, all these guys. There's John Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau and Tony Finau, and they're out playing a practice round on the East Coast. They're in Florida, and they get off a practice round, and there's microphones asking them about Tiger, and I understand why they did. Like, I'm not angry at the media for doing that. This isn't one of those gotcha moments, but they had no idea. They were playing a practice round, adjusting to, and with all honesty, it is different playing on the East Coast, the West Coast, different grass, different the humidity. I mean, they were playing a practice round. They were working, and I wonder how much. Yeah, they have phones out there, but I wonder how much they really knew about what was going on with Tiger, because we didn't know it. Those of us who were staring at the screen for the last 3 hours didn't know, and so it was somewhat unfair to ask these guys. And you know, everything went to golf. But DeChambeau's was so awkwardly DeChambeau, right? I mean, it was just DeChambeau awkward. But of all the stuff, that was as honest and real, and thank you for that answer and that response as any of them. Yes, be thankful he's here and his kids aren't without a dad, and hell, he may never play again, and screw it. It's not about golf right now.
Yeah, it was a situation where you got more information, and then these players could have a better answer to it. Because I get it. Initially, you just hear accident, leg injuries, hope he's okay, but we've seen him bounce back before. Can't wait till Tiger Woods is back on the golf course. Like, that's the generic answer you're going to get, and I don't blame any of those players because you just didn't know the extent of the injuries, and you start learning more, and you're like, wow, I'm just glad that Tiger's here, and then it changes your perspective on him in golf.
And then you hear he might have lost his leg. He almost, they were considering amputation. You hear multiple fractures, shattered ankle. I mean, you guys, thank you. He's human. And you know what? If he doesn't play again, for you and me and anybody else who enjoys watching him play, we had a hell of a run watching that guy. And the finale, if 2019 Masters was the cherry on top, and Micah's generation got to enjoy a Tiger Woods moment and like really get to appreciate it, damn, that's your gift. Like, honestly, I lived through it, and I got to watch Sundays. I saw Michael Wilbon, who I really like, talk about Tiger the other day. And he said, Wilbon said, Tiger's the reason a guy like me plays golf. That's why I live on a golf course. That's why I spend so much time playing golf. He said, I would lie to my wife on Sundays to watch Tiger. I would lie to her, say, no, I got to work, and I'd be sitting on the couch watching Tiger Wood play. And like, honestly, I found excuses to get out of stuff on Sundays to watch golf tournaments, to watch Tiger Woods, whether it was the U.S. Open or whether it was at Pebble Beach. I did. And it was different. I thought that was such a good perspective. And Micah, when you watch Tiger in 2019, Micah, for your generation, did you appreciate Tiger more? You had heard about it, and I don't know how much Tiger you remember from when you're 22 years old. Is that right? 23?
23.
22? 23. Just turned 23. When you watched Tiger win in 2019, did that give you a different perspective, even though you had heard how great he was, everything about him?
Oh, yeah. It makes you appreciate it way more. I mean, growing up, I didn't really get to watch him, and then it didn't really do much when I can finally appreciate sports, and then now to see him kind of be like what it was in his prime. I mean, it's like, for me, the closest equivalent is like Shaq. I mean, Shaq was one of the greatest centers of all time, but when I saw him, he sucked, and growing up, I thought Shaq sucked. So that's kind of like the same equivalent. Just I got to see Tiger and see that and appreciate it more.
That's my point. And that's my point, JJ, with these younger golfers. And so if our gift, our final Tiger on the golf course triumphant moment was that, like, it gets no better than that. It gets no better than that comeback capped off by that hug with his son and his daughter and his mother. Not in that order. But cheers to Rory for putting it into perspective, because he's dead on right. Dead on right. No. I want to see it more. I mean, I'm like everybody else, man. I want to see more.
Well, he made golf exciting. Like, he 100%. Like, would the game of golf still be around? Absolutely. Everyone would be at the golf course, but it wouldn't have the entertainment value. Yeah. It wouldn't. I don't think the game of golf is as good as it is right now if it's not for Tiger Woods. Because then you have good golfers that come through, but who the heck is polarizing? Rocco Mediate? No. you just look back, like, guys that you're like, oh my gosh, this is different. This is changing the game. This is bringing energy. Tiger Woods put golf in the mainstream. He made Sundays must-watch television. To what you just said, he got athletes playing the game of golf.
Yeah, he made it cool. And look, 20 years ago, the diversity on your television was not nearly what it is now. And you wouldn't have a Michael Wilbon or some of these guys talking about golf. It would have been just a story for the majors. Rory won the Masters. Okay, fine. Golf has become mainstream. More people are playing. You go to a golf course, you see more diversity on a golf course. And look, I love it. Like, I love watching golf. I tell you all the time, I would rather watch a golf tournament than an NBA basketball game on a given Sunday, and I do. To me, it's more exciting. There's more action. You're like, what, Jeff? Watch it go. Yeah. They go player to player to player to player to player to player to player. I think the dramas, I love it. I love it. And I think more people, because of Tiger, have gotten to that point as well. All right, we're going to have basketball when we come back. Jerry Palm from CBSSports.com is going to be with us as we get closer and closer now to Selection Sunday. We'll go through his bracketology and his bubble and get some of his thoughts. That's coming up next. Fellas, how you living? How you feeling? I hope you're feeling great, but if not, maybe you're dealing with fatigue or low energy, maybe even erectile dysfunction. There is a place locally where you can take care of those things. It's called Numel, and Numel is the leader when it comes to men's health. Right here in the Burque, they have helped thousands of men all over the country feel better. Nothing, and I'll tell you, nothing is more important than your health right now. Make it a priority and call Numel at 505-652-1688 or visit them at Numel, that's NUMALE.com. This whole process is comfortable. The results are absolutely real. From your first call to your first visit, all the way through the treatment, Numel's with you. They help you take care of low energy, even hair loss and erectile dysfunction. Their testosterone replacement utilizes cutting-edge technology, and they are out front when it comes to men's health. Call Numel at 505-652-1688. That's 505-652-1688, or visit Numel.com, and you will feel better.
To shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
There's a long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go. His
Ford driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalan's going to go when he puts it away. And Corbalan wants to put it down. Here comes Las Brown. You can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transitions, 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan. Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair and hot it, sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. DC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku! Oh! Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Barnes Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Turnover. Cable to the big fella might try to jam one home.
Second field goal, he's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off Romero. A 3 for
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good.
Lobo basketball loses on the road last night in Clune Arena up at the Air Force Academy, 62-55. 2-14 in league play, 6-14 overall. They will have one next week against Colorado State, then go into the conference tournament. And mercifully, according to them, it wasn't me, dude. I was
popping bottles.
I was fumbling bottles and cups, and it is what it is. Mercifully, it'll come to an end. Opening drive, Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck. We're coming up Selection Sunday 2 weeks from this Sunday. Jerry Palm from CBSSports.com is examining the brackets and every day looking at this stuff and joins us once again on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good morning, sir. How you living?
I'm all right. How are you?
You know, we're getting there. It's our governor yesterday decided that we can, now that basketball season's over, you can have sports in the state at 25% capacity in certain counties. And so, like, the baseball team gets to play at home here instead of going to Amarillo this weekend. That's a big deal.
Yeah, yeah, for them.
Yeah, that's right.
Not much use to the Lobos and the Aggies. But yeah.
No, it's tough. You know, I see you got Grand Canyon in. New Mexico State could make a run. Is it weird for you doing the WAC automatic qualifier and not just automatically penciling in New Mexico State?
Absolutely. It's been them for so long. I'm not surprised if they get it usurped that it would be Grand Canyon, because I think that's has the makings of a pretty good program. Dan Marley had it going a little bit, and then they stepped back and they replaced him. Now they've got Bryce Drew, and Bryce Drew's I think an excellent coach. Never got a chance at Vanderbilt, but I expect him to do very well there.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about this week coming up. It's bubble week, really. Where are most leagues? Are most leagues in makeup mode? I know some conference tournaments start next week. Where are we schedule-wise as far as trying to make up these 1,017 games or whatever the number is that were lost?
Yeah, several conferences this week rescheduled some games, canceled others. And some just got canceled by default. The season ran out, and some of the smaller conferences where that was going on. The Horizon League tournament starts today. There are 2 other tournaments that start this week. The America East and the Big South will start this week. So that's early, and those schedules were altered to spread out the tournament so that they can hopefully get it in through a pandemic. So, but yeah, we are at about the time of year where the regular season for most of the smaller conferences will wind up this week, and then you'll have tournaments for them next week, and then the larger conferences will have their regular seasons end for the most part next week, and then tournaments start the week after, leading up to Selection Sunday, where it's, that week is all conference tournaments by then. So that's pretty much where we are in the schedule. I know the Big 12 and the Pac-12 have finalized their regular season schedules. They had a week, and the Mountain West did this as well. They had a week unscheduled between the end of the regular season and the start of the conference tournament where they could try and make up some games So all three of those leagues scheduled some games there. The Mountain West has already had to cancel one of those because San Jose State's got a problem, so their regular season is over. And then we'll see if they're ready for the conference tournament. But, it's there's been some rescheduling. But I was over, at the beginning of the week, I was over like 330 games postponed, waiting to be rescheduled. I'm down to around 200 now because of conferences mostly canceling a bunch of games, but getting a few of them rescheduled.
Jerry Palm, CBSSports.com, is with us on the opening drive.
Well, Jerry, we get Boise State, San Diego State tonight. Boise State swept Utah State in their previous series. Where do you have Mountain West teams at this moment?
Yeah, I've got all four of them on the bubble at the top of the league, 3 in the bracket and Utah State out. And Utah State's in a bit of trouble, largely because of the 2 bad non-conference losses. Colorado State and San Diego State and Boise State don't have that problem. They're just beating each other up. Boise State lost to Nevada in the league, but that's not the worst thing in the world. So for San Diego State, they're only 1-3 against the other two teams. So that's a bit of a problem. They don't have a quadrant 1 win because they didn't win either of the Utah State games, which would have been quadrant 1. Colorado State being at home was not. Boise State being at home is not. But they did beat UCLA outside the league, so that's good. And then, for Boise State, they've got the win at BYU and a decent game at Houston, and a road split with Colorado State in quadrant 1. So these will be quadrant 1 games for Boise because they're road games with San Diego State, so they have a chance to improve their resume, and they're standing as the highest-rated team in this league.
So San Diego State, Boise State play tonight, and what's 2 nights? What day is today? So tonight and Saturday.
Today's Thursday. So I think it's Thursday, Saturday.
Yeah. If one of them sweeps the other, is the one who gets swept probably outside looking in?
I think San Diego State would be because those are home games. It might not be so bad for Boise, but it wouldn't be good. That's for sure. But it would be worse for San Diego State because those would be home games. So they'd be 1-5 then against the other 3 contenders in this league. So they would be in some trouble for sure.
Yeah, and I guess, it's wins and losses. They blew a 26-point lead, lost to Colorado State, and then played without Matt Mitchell at Utah State, but they lost. I mean, the bottom line is the bottom line, and they've got the UCLA win. Jerry Palm, CBSSports.com, is with us for a few more minutes.
Well, Jerry, looking at your last bracket, one of the first 4 teams was North Carolina, and all they did was schedule Marquette and then lose that game yesterday.
Yeah, they didn't look good doing it either. That was not a very competitive game for North Carolina. That's, I guess, always a risk, right? You're going to play a game you might lose. And, Marquette is not a tournament team. But they're not terrible. I mean, they've had moments this season. They beat Wisconsin earlier this year, and that's a pretty good team. They're in-state rival. They have another pretty good win that escapes me, like Creighton or something. Oh, yeah, Creighton, because Creighton's lost all the bad teams in their league. They beat all the good ones, but they've lost all the bad ones. So they've had some good wins before. So Carolina's not Marquette's best win, but it's a tough loss for a North Carolina team that's beaten Louisville and nobody else in the bracket, and that's a problem for them. But they've got games left that can help them back up, and of course the conference tournament. But North Carolina's margin for error is getting smaller.
What did Duke's win over Virginia do for them? Anything?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Duke's on this 4-game winning streak, which has got everybody sort of hyperventilating, good or bad. I mean, either with excitement or disgust. Take your pick. There's no middle ground with Duke.
Right.
But so Virginia's part of that. They've got a couple other nice home wins. Clemson is one of them. So they've been doing okay. They've got back to 3 games above 500, which is nice. But their losses are all over the map. They've got 4 losses to teams that are probably not going to the tournament. And I've been saying all week when Duke has been brought up that Michigan State's tournament resume is better right now. Duke is higher in the metrics, but Michigan State's tournament resume is better. And it's better in part, not entirely, but in part because Michigan State won at Duke. And that's one of Duke's losses. So, Michigan State got that big win at Illinois this week. Not at Illinois, home to Illinois this week. And I think Michigan State's resume would not be better if they didn't have that win.
You know, Jerry, we've been talking so much about like Alabama and the SEC, some teams that have jumped up, but get on the bus. Arkansas is coming as they get a win over Alabama.
Yeah, they're like 6 in a row for them, I think. Arkansas has been hot for sure. They got that win in Missouri. Now they have a win over Alabama. They're definitely the hottest team in the league, playing their way up the bracket in a hurry. Really nice win for them last night, and a comfortable win. Alabama was never really a threat to win that game, and that was a pretty impressive performance for Arkansas. And they're starting to peak at the right time, and could be a threat to do some damage in the NCAA tournament.
What did the West Coast Conference decide to do? Where did we end up?
We haven't had a
decision.
to play?
Really?
Nothing announced yet. Anyway, the deadline for that is tomorrow to tell the NCAA what they're going to do. I guess they don't have to announce anything, although I assume they would. I have not heard anything probably since Monday, when there were some stories published about Gonzaga in particular considering laying out, and Mark Few was quoted in that story. It's a problem for the West Coast Conference for sure if they run a watered-down tournament and expect to send that champion to the NCAA. That's a big problem for the West Coast Conference.
It's not only that, Jerry. Does their television partner then decide if Gonzaga and BYU are out of the West Coast Conference tournament? Do they get their full payment on their money?
I would imagine that there would be some negotiations involved, and I'm sure that's ESPN because they do almost all of the conference tournaments.
Right. I'm going to guess.
But,
I'm going to guess you're not paying full boat to televise St. Mary's in San Diego and Loyola Marymount. Yeah.
Conference tournament final. Yeah, I would agree.
And I'm going to guess. And I'm going to guess Mark Few and BYU, and they're not willing to take a pay cut. I mean, I want my full salary, and that's where your money's coming from, especially in a year where there's no gate. I didn't realize games were optional at some point, and that's been my whole thing. I know people around here lost their mind because the Mountain West, which scheduled a buffer week, and I understand both sides of this. The Mountain West scheduled next week as a buffer week to make up games, and now people are, well, why should we have to play games? Well, because that's A, was the plan, and B, you've got a lot of TV days with CBS and Fox.
You signed up for and probably approved.
Right, and absolutely. And you've got TV dates and obligations to Fox and CBS where you want full boat. Nobody's looking to take a pay cut, but yet, well, why are we having to play? And I understand the coaches saying it's going to hurt us and there's nothing that can help, but this is what you signed up for. When did playing games become optional?
I agree. It's and I don't know if I told you this before, but when I was in New York a week and a half ago, Mitch Barnhart, the chairman of the selection committee, was talking to us, and I think this was off air, but it wasn't any great big secret. But he said that all but 2 of the conferences in their bylaws require conference members to participate in conference tournaments if they're held. Now, maybe the West Coast is not one of those. Is one of the 2. He couldn't remember off the top of his head which 2 did not require that. And then maybe the West Coast is one of those. But it's like, okay, well, if you're opting out of our conference tournament, you're opting out of the postseason.
It feels that way.
These conferences are saying now that I'm sure Gonzaga is not opting out of the postseason entirely if they choose to opt out of their conference tournament, but they're really making things uncomfortable in the league office if they don't participate.
Yeah, and the air of arrogance that goes with that, and I really am a fan of that program, but to me, it's a bad look.
And Mark Few said, and I guess you maybe could give him a little slack on this, is that, the COVID protocols are really strict to play in the NCAA tournament. And so that they're concerned with having 10 teams in a petri dish there that they could have a problem. I get that, but their final is also 9 days prior to the start of the NCAA tournament. So they've got time. They've got a bigger buffer than the Big Ten does, who's playing their conference tournament final 4 days before the tournament starts and on Selection Sunday.
Yeah, I understand both sides, and it's tricky. All right, my friend, enjoy this weekend. Oh, JJ's got one more.
Well, Jerry, to that point, what if Gonzaga just forfeits as opposed to not showing up? Would that be a way around it, and then would they still be a number 1 seed?
Forfeits are an administrative thing, so the committee would not consider a forfeit any different than a canceled game. It was never played. So they wouldn't treat it as a loss
That's
or
like
something
the
that
San Diego
affected their
State.
resume.
Yeah, because San Diego State got 2 forfeits with New Mexico.
From it's essentially the same. In almost every respect, it's the same.
Yeah, San Diego State, the 2 games against New Mexico have been ruled forfeits, and those are simply for
Yeah, now what
administrative.
happened there, by the way? Why were those ruled forfeits?
Because basically New Mexico opted to not play. There were no COVID positives. There were no. They just decided they needed a mental health break, and they took the week off.
Okay,
And,
I do remember that.
But why they didn't rule it that way then is really what's got a lot of people irked, right? Why now come back at the end? It looks like you're trying to help San Diego State win a championship because you're giving them these wins, and they're going to help you in the seedings in the conference tournament.
Well,
so that's why. All right, enjoy the weekend. We'll catch you next week. Read him every day over on CBSSports.com. His Twitter handle is at JPPalmCBS. Huh? Look at that. I got it right the first time.
Yeah. All right. On a roll.
Be well. Enjoy that new iPhone.
All right. Thanks. Take care.
See you. Jerry Palm from CBSSports.com. It's really not that damn hard, is it?
It's always on the screen if you need to check it out in ProView.
It's right there. The beautiful drawing of Jerry Palm. It's the opening drive on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Find quality candidates.
Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, twine.
Well, he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, a little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer.
Look at this, they're not going to score again. Look at this.
Up top. Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
To create space, he gives it off to Rivas for the 3 and he buries it.
Gonna be coming in soon. Double quick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen. Against White. Step back. It's blocked. JB with the block.
In transition. Ahead to hit on. Hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance. And it's put up. And it's good. What a 3 that is by Jalen.
Sorry. Hito puts it up.
Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Davina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Luscious. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. Lewis for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big.
To what your buddy Jerry Palm had to say. Yeah, the whole thing, and I get the not wanting to play these games. And the pandemic is very, very real, and especially for a team like Gonzaga, you do not want to expose your players any more than you need to. When you've got a real chance to win a national championship, and understanding how tight the procedure is in regards to the NCAA tournament. Look, there's going to be a team or two or three or however many are players that aren't going to be able to play in the tournament. There's going to be COVID. It's happened every program, every week. I don't know why we would sit here and think we're going to get through the tournament without it. And so I understand it. I really do. But I didn't realize we got to the point where playing games are optional.
Well, I think the challenge here, Jeff, and I present it to you, you're not going to see it change in the moment, but collegiately, I think the issue is a positive test shuts down your whole program. And that is the scary thing for a team right now.
I get
where
it.
you're not, it's not the pro model where, there's a positive test, we can remove that player, monitor everyone else, and as long as those tests remain negative, you can still play. I think you'd have a different feeling with teams getting ready for the NCAA tournament if they knew that was the scenario. But what it is in collegiate athletics, if there's a positive test, you shut down everyone.
Yeah, no, and that's why I tell you, I understand where the coaches are coming from. I do.
And would you be okay with that change? Like, that would
go into the pro model?
Yeah. Do you think that would?
Yeah, I think that would.
Athletes react differently. Would it have a different feeling just because we're talking about collegiate athletics?
Well, so let me ask you this, because I think I would, and I don't know that I'm well enough versed on all of it. So, I do you feel like it's working at the pro level? Is it working at the NBA level? Right, a guy's positive and he's out for like Schroeder or Kevin Durant or whatever. It feels like that's working. Does it? I mean, we got to work off of that premise, right?
Yeah, there's going to be moments like we saw, a week or two ago with San Antonio. Unfortunately, 4 players tested positive. Then at that point in time, you do have a pause for a team. But there's moments where there's been close contacts or a positive test that they've removed that player, monitored everyone else. Fingers crossed you have negative tests and you're able to move forward. And that would be a huge benefit to the NCAA tournament. And I'm sure even teams that would still get a chance to play if there's one positive. Because in this case, too, it can just be like a coach. Like we saw with UNM, it wasn't a player, but it was a coach situation, which then took the entire team off the floor.
Yeah, I think if the premise is accurate that it's working at the NBA level, then I would ask the question, then why are we running collegiately at a different model? And listen to the answer. Is it because we're talking about a campus situation, but most campuses aren't open? Is it why is it this? Can we evolve now to the NBA model? I think I would be in favor of pivoting to the pro model for the collegiate level. I don't know that you can do it mid-season, but I don't know why you couldn't. I really don't know why you couldn't do it mid-season.
Especially with the testing, the turnaround, the multiple tests that these athletes, these teams are doing at this point in time. I know there's incubation periods, etc., but if you're constantly still able to test, get results back in a timely manner, I think that would be big for the NCAA tournament, to where you don't have something, unfortunately, shut down an entire team if it's not an outbreak.
Yeah, and going back to the original part of this conversation, and I'm with you on this, I think. I understand why the coaches don't want to play. I do. I get why Brian Dutcher wouldn't want to play New Mexico. at San Diego State, or why Gonzaga is considering opting out, which just seems crazy to me, of their conference tournament. I don't want to. If you're telling me one positive and she's got to shut me down, I got a chance to play for a national championship or a chance to get in the NCAA tournament, I do get that. Are you willing to take a pay cut? Are you willing to not get any revenue from the conference tournament? Are you willing to like the revenue piece? And I'm not telling you the revenue has to be the driver, but it has to be a consideration because it's part of the reality. But this is quirky. It's uncomfortable. It's tricky. It's imperfect. But man, I didn't realize games and conference tournaments were optional.
When you're like this, they become optional.
Yeah. All right, 505-246-0610. Emails Jeff or JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. Bless you, Micah. You can watch us on ProView Networks, on their YouTube channel. J. Pole and Josh are producing there. Micah is producing on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovic.
That replay. I got you. Measurement. I mean, Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
Run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. They're looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
Throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Puts across. Throws it up and wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Jimmy Guyan. Chavez dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and.
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And off, great hit. He bounces off outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos was handling.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Far the ball again. Another steal by Davina Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. Nekwati lob, tagged by Osi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham. Lovato driving. They're going to count it. Gallegos. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Natalia Chavez, good spin. Takes a...
Years running. This is the opening drive with two-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Siembieda, and J.J. Buck.
Well, I think you got to credit Air Force for the way they came out. I thought they set the tempo and the tone of the game early on and kind of sucker punched us early, and we were not ready for that. And after that, at that point, it was kind of similar to Wyoming, and obviously a different score, but trying to play catch up the rest of the night. And you need a lot of breaks along the way. You need this shot to fall and that shot not to go down, and this call to go your way to kind of perfectly get yourself back in. And I thought at times that worked, but you have to credit Air Force as well. I mean, you have to also, I think, credit their ability to withstand us trying to get back in the game, because I do feel as though our guys did have good effort and were trying and giving it what they could to come back and try and win the game after spotting them so many points early.
Lobo men's basketball coach Paul Weir after the Lobos lose 62-55. Yesterday afternoon, a little Clune afternoon gloom in Colorado Springs. Lobos fall to 2-14 in conference play. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda, J.J. Buck. J.J. then called the ladies' game, and the Clune doom continued past afternoon with you. 75-73, Lobo women lose to Air Force. Not a good day on the court for UNM yesterday up at the Air Force Academy.
It was not execution a problem in critical times for the men. It was right out of the gate. A lot of missed opportunities, bad offensive possessions leading the buckets under there. And for Air Force, and then for the women, it was the final two possessions, chance to tie and or take the lead. Shy Magruder's initial opportunity stopped by Air Force, and then not even getting a shot off at the buzzer, losing that game by 2 points.
All right, so feel free to get in on either of those. And then, of course, big news yesterday in the press conference about, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I think. Eddie Nunez came out and Ray Birmingham with the governor's loosening of the restrictions. Lobo baseball will play at home, an event in New Mexico this weekend. No, it's real. And 25% capacity out at Santa Ana Star Field, and Lobos and Air Force will play baseball this weekend in New Mexico. Ray Birmingham, obviously out of his mind, happy. Just a good progress, good step for sports and athletics in our state. Not just for UNM, but certainly for UNM. For New Mexico State, although Doña Ana County is still in the red, so the Aggies are not permitted to play at home. So actually, this would have helped them for their football game, JJ, where they got a week from not this weekend, but next weekend, the Dixie State. They could have played that game in Aggie Memorial Stadium. However, they're still in red, so they're going to have to play that game in El Paso. But for everybody, United, for Isotopes, for high schools, just a glimmer of hope. And now, as Ray Birmingham said, it's a responsibility. And I brought this up on the press conferences. And yeah, like I said, I wasn't looking to play Debbie Downer on this, but the reality is now you got to be responsible, because if we go out there and just say, all right, we're free, yay, let's play, and super spreader events, we're going to shut her all down and go backwards.
That is correct. Still got a lot of work to do, but a little opportunity now to move forward, enjoy some events outdoors. And I appreciate what Ray said in that regard. They have a responsibility to show that can be done. I think that's something at UNM from the get-go. Even New Mexico State, the basketball team saying, hey, we can show you we could do this. Much different situation, a challenge of having to do it on the road, but we're finally here. And when the seasons moved, you saw some of the fall seasons move to the spring, so the adjustments with the baseball schedule. This was the hope that you'd be able to get to a point where things are moving forward. There's the right kind of positive movement in regards to dealing with the global pandemic, and it's worked out for Olympic sports. Baseball's got to have home games. Women's soccer is going to get to play some games on the road. So, yeah, it's unfortunate the challenge that the Lobo men and women had to endure, the Aggie men and women had to endure on the basketball court, but now the opportunity is opening up for the other student athletes to at least just get to play at home. And that's so huge in this, and something that gets lost a little bit. Even when they allowed them to practice at home, everyone's like, oh, finally, well, there's that. Well, you really can't get home. There's not a lot of time. You're traveling as is to just keep bouncing back to Albuquerque to practice and then go where you want to go. So it hasn't really had a major effect on these teams in terms of the basketball season, but this will have a big impact on these other seasons.
Yeah, so it's a big deal, and moving forward, and what will that mean for Isotopes and United, we'll see. United's schedule is not out from the USL. Major League Baseball and Minor League Baseball put out the schedule for Isotopes baseball, which is scheduled to begin with a home game on April 8th. I mean, I sat here, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, I told you there's no chance that's going to happen. Now there's a glimmer of hope. I think the big issue is, what percentage of capacity do the Isotopes need to be able to make this work? And John's made it very clear. They absolutely need game day revenue to be able to survive. I don't know that 25% is going to be enough. I don't know that it's not, but I'm going to guess it's not. If we get to green, I guess when, but if we get there in time, would that be enough? At 50%, that'd be about 7,000 a game. Is the capacity about 14,000, 6,500, 77,000 a game? They could probably live on that, right? They could probably live on that. Now, this is the other tricky thing. How do you decide who's in? I know Lobos were asked that yesterday. How do you decide who gets in? Who is it? Is it first come, first serve? Do the players get to let their parents in? Is it season ticket holders? Is it this isn't easy, man. This is really, really tricky. And I know they had plans in place for the pit as far as working at 50% capacity, but this isn't easy. And who has tickets, who doesn't, who's allowed, who's not. This is going to be one of those that's really, really tricky. And then how the concessions line work? Are you going to be able? I mean, you've been at Isotopes Park. You see how the concourse is, how long those concession lines get, right? The beer lines for United game. And so I'm going to guess you're not going to be able to stand elbow to elbow for 25 minutes while you wait for a beer.
No, you're going to have to probably stand, as we know, 6 feet apart while you wait for.
But think of that now. Extend that long line 6 feet. I mean, where are you going?
You got issues, but this is what you got to deal with. And I think of all the things, I think John Schaub will gladly figure out how to sell food in an open ballpark versus not.
No, I'm not telling you any of this is unsolvable. This is just stuff you're going to have to work through, and it's being done elsewhere. This is, if there's a good part about everybody else doing it. I mean, there's models everywhere else. I'm sure he can call his buddy and pick a state and say,
what
man,
you
how
do
you guys doing it?
Is you actually just buy a few extra T-shirt cannons and just load those up with the concessions. And then you have the guy in between innings walking around. So I'll take this, and you just go, boosh, and then you just pay him over an app. Yeah.
And you fire your beer 18 rows up. What if you miss and it hits the kid in the head? I'm just saying.
Kids should have been paying attention.
Damn right. Damn right.
Baseball game.
The parents. What are you
There's
doing,
flying
kid?
objects.
Everywhere. Flying objects everywhere. All right. 505-246-0610. I got a bunch of emails I got to read to you. It's your opinions. You took the time to send them. I will take the time to share them. We're open for you. That's area code 505-246-0610. Emails Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com, JJ at sportsanimалabq.com on the opening drive on 95.9 FM at AM 610 Sports Animal.
Tom Brady is the GOAT.
The Jim Rome Show.
He's Goaty McGoat.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Cut into it. And had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on and goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos, get it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Leon stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Evans has that ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Forward dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Does not, or he does. He likes Lobo basketball's chances, even after losing to Air Force yesterday. Jeff, it looks like they're going to play UNLV. They lost 2 very close games to the Rebs over the next 2 weeks. We're going to hear it's harder to beat a team 3 times. Are we? Are we? James says, boy, I sure don't get this. Remember last summer when the governor and her buddy, Dr. D. Scrace, had this magical number of less than 168 COVID cases for reopening? Yesterday, the number in New Mexico was 3 times that. Yet suddenly we can open, question mark? Yes. Yes, James. That's the answer. Yes is the answer. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, Micah, J-Pole, and Josh. 505-246-0610. You want to go to it? Hello, Fred. How you living? You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good day.
Hey, guys. Happy day.
Happy
we
day.
get to go to Lobo baseball.
Yep, if you can get in.
Well, I was going to tell you, they all you do is you just do it online. The tickets are $5, or I don't know why it's only 600 instead of 750, because I thought that it holds 3,000, but I might be wrong about that. But the first 600 people can come in. Cost you $5. You do it online, and then once they sell out to 600, then that's going to be it, of course. And you can bring food in because they haven't had a chance to really get anything going on food or anything. So you can bring food in to the game for maybe just for this week, and then from that time on you won't be able to. But I just want to let everybody know that for Saturday and Sunday you just do it online. And I wanted to just say one thing about the Lady Lobos. When I listen to Bradbury, sometimes I wonder sometimes, and I know JJ heard him and stuff too, but he sort of downgraded the Lobos a little bit, which is too bad. But he loves the Lobos, he said, but he thought they played terrible. And I don't know if you watched the game. I know JJ, of course, did the game on the radio, but gosh, I tell you what, Air Force really played good. I couldn't believe how well they played, and they really played our game, because our game is scored in the 70s or in the 80s, not in the 60s. So they played our game. They made the free throws. They only missed 1 free throw. We, shot free throws very well. We really played a pretty decent game. Not having Hurst is huge, because she's our best defensive player. She could have been on one of the 2 scorers that scored all those points. So they're not. They got upset. Fresno got upset by San Diego last week, and so that gave them their 4th loss. And so we are right now in 3rd place because of percentage points, but I still think the ladies have a good chance, because UNLV, maybe JJ can comment on this, but UNLV has been playing really well basketball. They're right behind us right now, and they have to play Fresno State, not Colorado State, but Fresno State, 2 games, I think, starting tonight, I think. And so I'm hoping they split, Fresno and UNLV split, and then the Lobos can beat Utah State, which I really think there's no reason we couldn't. And a question I had, too, to JJ is, are they busing right from Colorado Springs to Utah? Because he didn't say. He just said he's going to catch a bus. Or are they coming all the way back home and then going, to Utah? And those are just questions that maybe JJ can comment. And I'll get off the air though. And good job, guys. See ya.
Thanks, Fred. This is your beat. Take it.
They're going to Logan, Utah. Then presumably to Colorado to play for CSU. So yeah, they're on the road. The rest of the way heading to Las Vegas.
And they'll be home in May.
Yeah.
To pick up their stuff out of their apartments and go home for the summer. Bradbury is interesting when he speaks, right? Bradbury is very matter of fact. You know where Bradbury stands. He's like a coach in respect where he's never happy. But he said last night they weren't very good, and they weren't very good.
Yeah, they had their issues defensively. And Air Force scores 55 points per game in conference play. They scored 66 and 75 against New Mexico. We know this is a team that has some issues on the defensive end, and when things aren't clicking all across the board offensively, they're going to have less room for error, and it showed in this series, and they've struggled to start these games. They've trailed their last 4 games at halftime. So, yeah, there's still a lot of work to do for UNM. I think the women are still in a good position to absolutely compete in this conference, especially when it comes to the tournament in Las Vegas. But I think it's, even as a coach, it's probably hard, and you've heard it from Bradbury, you heard it even when they beat Air Force 80-66, like he was just so upset with the start. But it's like your team hasn't played a competitive basketball game in 17 days. And it's the expectations you have, but also addressing just some of the realities of the situation. I think for a coach like Bradbury, it's tough to be able to take a step back when you're just so in that mode over and over and over about just gotta get results. Doesn't matter, results.
Crushing loss, says Jack. Jeff, you talked about Lobo football winning the last 2 and not finishing in last place is giving them tremendous momentum going into the next season. In contrast, the difference between 10th and 11th might not be that large of a spread, but finishing in last place can't be good for Lobo basketball headed into an offseason. I agree. I actually agree with that. And Danny Gonzalez, we asked Danny straight up, what does it mean going into your offseason to win 2 in a row? And he certainly didn't downplay it. Finishing last sucks. Yeah. I don't know how, they're going to lose their last game, whatever it is, whether it's the first game of the tournament, the second, whatever it is, they're going to, most teams lose the last game of their year. But yeah, I know it's going to sound pretty minute. And what's the difference, Jeff, between being 2-15 or being 3-14? Not being dead last to me, and you may disagree with this, and I'm going to guess you will, but not finishing dead last would have probably been, well, I don't want to say nicer than finishing dead last. That's obvious. I just, finishing dead last in your league sucks.
It does suck. But whether you're last or second to last at this point in time, that's not going to change anyone's opinion. Like, the Lobos finished 9th instead of 10th? Or
10th instead of 11th?
Right? Yeah. Something.
Yeah, the women are 9 and 10. Yeah, I'm not going to argue long with you on that. Because I don't know that I totally disagree, but I think there's a little something to it. I think, I don't know, man. Does it matter? I mean, everybody knows where you are, where the program is. This is going to be tough to bounce back from. JJ, as you look at the roster, and I have no idea. Like, I'm not even going to pretend to speculate on what the roster looks like next September for Lobo men's basketball. But assuming the base of the roster is comprised of what is currently there, is this salvageable for next year? Do you see hope for next year? And I know I'm speaking in a vacuum. What are they going to bring in? What additionally is coming in?
Guess what? You know what's going to save this team next year?
What?
Transfers. If you can keep this core, you got Matos, Manuel, Singleton back, Isaiah Marin, Javonte Johnson sticks around, Jeremiah Francis. Transfers. If you can hit on a Grant Shearfield, if you can hit on a legitimate go-to scorer, 1 or 2 guys that can be playmakers, this team has role players. Transfers can save this team next year if you hit on 2 legitimate guys that are eligible to play.
And the key is eligible because I don't know where the
and they
transfer
should
rules
be
are going to be. Yeah, I don't know
given
where we're going to
everything
be.
that's gone on this year. Who the heck knows what waivers are going to look like?
Right.
But that's what is going to push this team to another level. Now, if it's more of the same, I don't think you're looking at a team that can win the conference next year.
Yeah, I think global fans are looking for hope next year. Yeah. To your point on transfers, I mean, typically it's a one-year sit-out transfer, unless it's a graduate transfer, a player who's already graduated academically and going to a university that offers a master's program that's not offered at their previous school. This year, waivers were granted pretty much across the board for immediate eligibility because of COVID. And Grant Sherfield can get the year back for crying out loud, as everybody else can. So where you find immediate help, because typically on immediate help, you're going to a grad transfer, going to JC, and JC is such a crapshoot, as we've seen. I think Lobo fan right now is just going, all right, give me something, because I can't take another year of this, right? It's been how many straight? The Lobo basketball, to use Jeffrey's words, have been insipid and irrelevant. Can you hear him? But he's not wrong. He's not wrong. They're 11th in an 11-team league.
Not irrelevant to the people that are mad.
No, they're pissed. They're really, really pissed. All right, I got more emails for you, more thoughts. Get yours in at 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. Is Russell Wilson on the trade block? Micah seems to think so with that story he sent us. Sign and trade on Dak? Is that the best route? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM at AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Don't
College basketball is back.
When you're in a hurry, Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Let's get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll just shoot it. He's going to go all the way.
He's going to fire at the buzzer, and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
In the district, inside, fly, Eagles!
Chavez uses some athleticism, and then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds, and look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer! Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter, got it.
Said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer! Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10!
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we could see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Hill, the senior pops.
No! Oh! Ho, ho, ho!
Played over to Madrid, plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot up by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide, big deflection, goal.
With this first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it.
Got some thoughts on quarterbacks. Ben's evidently going to be back at Pittsburgh. Micah, you sent me a story that says the Seahawks are really considering trading Russell Wilson. And then I heard talk this morning about a sign and trade for Dak. And JJ, you said, when has a quarterback ever been signed and traded? When does that ever happen in the NFL? And I don't know that it has. It doesn't mean it can't. But if the if Dak's insistent on $40 million a year, and the Cowboys aren't going to pay him, they franchise him this year and then they lose him for nothing after this year. Let's just say Russell Wilson gets traded, and Seattle says, "Yeah, we're willing to pay $40 million. Will you sign him and trade him to us?" Then they get a first-round pick for him or something.
If I'm other teams, I call Dallas's bluff and say, if you want to sign him, but I'm not giving you a first-round pick for doing something we could do without giving you a first-round pick.
We just got to wait another year on it.
Yeah, if you want to franchise tag him, eat that money. That's on you for messing up this quarterback situation, but we're not going to bail you out.
Yeah. This isn't over, this cycle, this quarterback carousel. Timothy, good morning. The numbers get in 505-246-0610. Timothy, you're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good day, sir.
Good morning. How you doing?
We're well, thank you. How are you?
Hanging in here, but being a Lobo fan, you can kind of imagine I have the same feeling as most others.
Yeah, I imagine you do.
I wanted to make a point on something about the Lobos. I think Paul Weir needs to go. And I point this out. Paul Weir had a successful time at New Mexico State, but he didn't build New Mexico State into a winner. He took over a winner from Menzie. He's come over to the Lobos, and he didn't have much to work with due to Neal kind of destroying what Alford built. But I don't see Weir as somebody who can build. You guys talk about transfers. You know, we've had transfers before. We had the kid from Kansas who stunk up the joint, was a troublemaker. Most of the people who are going to come here are going to be not top-tier players at best.
Well, Timothy, so you're right, you've missed on a few transfers. Why do you think they're not top tier? I mean, Drew Gordon was a pretty good transfer. Darrington Hobson was pretty good. J.R. Giddens was pretty good. Danny Granger was pretty good. I mean, if you look at some of your really good players over the years, some of them were transfers.
Well, you're right, but look at who they transferred with. They didn't transfer with Weir. They transferred with people like Alford.
That's fair.
And even before that. I just don't see Weir being a top-tier coach. And I see coaches all across the leagues, from Winthrop to Dayton, who consistently put up teams that do well. Richmond, LaSalle. These programs are successful. I'm sure we can get one of those coaches to come over just by selling them. You get a chance to coach in the pit.
Well, there's a lot of attractive things about this program. The pit is one of them. This whole narrative, and I know you're not pushing it, that who's going to come here, who's going to want this job is a ridiculous one. Many really good qualified coaches, A, have already inquired about this job, and B, will want this job if it's open.
I hope they look at that, because I just don't see us going anywhere with Weir, because like I said, his career is based on what Menzie's built at New Mexico State.
Yeah. All right, Timothy, appreciate your perspective, and thank you.
You guys have a safe one.
Now, Paul was a part of building that. He wasn't the head coach, but he certainly was a recruiter and a big part of what Marvin did, and Marvin spoke great things about him. the transfer game is risky, just like the recruiting game is. I mean, it's no different. When you looked at your roster and when you were 10-1 last year and you were doing it with transfers in Caldwell and Bragg and Lyle, you kind of liked the whole transfer game, didn't you?
Yeah, there is a balance to it. You need to recruit and develop some players, but you also have to be willing to accept transfers. That is how you win at a high level in college basketball, and
certainly
especially in this league. You're going to hit on a couple guys, but then you do need to balance that out. And for New Mexico, if you're looking at, all right, how do they take a step forward next year, it is hitting on a transfer or two. If you can keep some of this core, then you have that mix. You have some development of players. I think Byron Matos, Feldo Emmanuel can be solid role players in the post, along with the development of Isaiah Marin. If Javante Johnson can start to show flashes, so who's going to be the go-to players on it? And you look at the transfer market, because to your point, even with a new coach, patience is not a thing that Lobo fans have right now. They want to see something, and you got to be able to find that balance within a roster.
Yeah, I know a lot of Lobo fans feel like Timothy does, and they're ready to move, and I get it. And if you were going to ask me my gut, I would tell you they're going to make a move. I mean, I don't know, where are you? What does your gut tell you?
I think once I understand, I know there's so many people that want to see it happen now, and even with the struggles, it's not the right thing to do, because I don't think there's a turmoil within this team in terms of the players and Paul Weir. So you see this season out, you take a step back if you're Eddie Nunez. You do have to take into account what this year presented the Lobos, but ultimately it comes back to, what do you see with this team, and do you believe these coaches can take a step forward with this roster?
Well, I guess, do you look at this program and say, all right, I like the direction, I see a path, I like the leadership, I like, and I think last year's got to be part of the equation too, right? What happened last year? How did you come out of last year? How did you build off of last year? I think that's part of the equation. I agree with Eddie on the, and I'm glad he said it, and I think I said it here before that too. You don't judge the season just on wins and losses because of everything that's going on. But and I'm going to preface this call by saying the answer is not dropping to Division II. Wayne, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Wayne.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to follow up on what JJ said about how New Mexico fans don't have a lot of patience. I actually think we have an overabundance of patience. So respectfully, I would take the opposite opinion on that. As far as what you guys have thrown out today as a good, quick remedy, a couple of transfers, I hope it's that simple.
So does everybody, right?
Yeah, right. Well, hey, thanks for taking my call. Have a great day.
Thanks, Wayne. Hey, JJ, give me a few examples of a turnaround. My best one that I think I have is what Eric Musselman did at Nevada with some transfers and how it turned around quickly. San Diego State has maintained a level with transfers. Now, they've done it with homegrown and transfers, right? They seem to have a guy every year, a Matt Mitchell, a Shackle, who's grown up within their program, and yet bolstered with transfers to Majic, Gomez, Malachi Flynn was a transfer, right? So are they the model in this league for the mix of four-year guys, but finding the right transfers?
It goes back to coaching as well. That is a piece to it.
No doubt.
Because if you want to look at a model that worked, I would even bring up Steve Alford, the names that you mentioned.
No
doubt. The Drew Gordon mid-year transfer. Like, you had an established roster, but you were able to add to it. Darrington Hobson. Like, you had guys that were good, but then you were able to add a piece that can help take you to another level. And how about Steve Alford this season? I think Nevada is a great example of that. You have two impact players that transferred in, and they're the reason Nevada is as good as they are this season. It's obviously easier said than done, but sitting here, first and foremost, it's all right, who's the coach going to be if it's Paul Weir? But you have a base of players I think can develop in the good role players.
Michael
in the only instant impact is, all right, you're not signing a one-and-done 5-star freshman, so it's a transfer market.
Yeah, and to your point on the Alford thing, I mean, there was a mix, right? There was a mix of homegrown. You had a Kendall Williams, a Hugh Greenwood, a Doris Gary, plenty of Chad Adams, guys that came in and did. Tony Snell did their 4, or in Tony's case 3 years. Alex Kirk, guys who really contributed and developed within your program, as well as finding the impact guys, and moving forward. I think there is a mix, and
your core has to be more homegrown. To have consistent success, the core has to be guys that you're able to keep around and develop, as opposed to inserting 3 or 4 transfers every year.
Has San Diego State's been a core of homegrown? I mean, there's been, like, Xavier Thames was a transfer. I think DJ Gay was homegrown. Billy White was homegrown. On this year's team, they've got a few. They're over the years, I look at them as the model because I think they are, I don't know, I think they are the standard bearer in this league. When you say every team wants to be what they've become over the last decade and a half?
Absolutely. And to that, you look at the rosters atop the league right now. You have Derek Alston, who's been there all through his career. Yeah. But then you had some guards that are transferred. And I think Utah State this year is a good example. Is you have your Nemius Queta, Justin Bean, and who's been a real benefit for them? Marco Anthony, a guy who transferred in from Virginia. So I don't know the exact percentage. I would say it's probably does have to be over 50% of your core contributors you're able to kind of keep around and grow. But yes, you do have to be able to supplement them with positive transfers.
Well, if you look at Boise State's roster, and I mean, and we'll do it when we get back, because they're loaded with transfers this year, aside from Alston. And you're right on Alston, who's their best player. What?
Yeah, Boise State's a really good one to get into in this regard.
Yeah, and we'll do that when we get back, because I just look, where is the answer? Leadership. Where is your program going? You mentioned coaching, the consistency that Leon Rice has been able to provide at Boise State, that Steve Fisher, Brian Dutcher have been able to provide at San Diego State, obviously what Steve Alford has been able to do at Nevada, having that this is how it's going to be, and then you become a destination, right? San Diego State has become a destination for transfers. Guys leaving the East Coast, you've got them from Vanderbilt and from Maryland and from Washington State, all over the country, have realized I can go there and excel and have a chance to win and grow. And that's what makes it, I mean, yeah, San Diego makes it attractive, but San Diego State's program makes it attractive too. 505-246-0610. Come on in if you want to get into this, and we'll look at Boise State's roster, because I think JJ's right. It's a really good example of this. Hey, winter is not done, and it's not good to your vehicle. That cold air pulls the moisture out of your paint. That makes the paint easier to chip, and then there's the sand and the salt and the dirt, which is there for months, and it's bad for your paint, and the problem is you don't want to clean it, or you don't have the time, or you don't want to stand in the cold. I got the perfect solution for you. It is On the Spot Automotive Detailing. On the Spot Automotive Detailing comes to you. That's right. You don't take it to them. You don't have to find time. I got to. No. Wherever, whenever it is convenient for you. Home, office, ball field now. Yeah, you can actually go to a ball field. They'll go out and they detail your vehicle. Inside, outside, detailing, thorough cleaning, smells, spills, stains, junk, pet hair. All of it's gone. And by the time they're done, it's like the day you took it off the lot. This is insanely wonderful. Remember the day you drove it home? Remember how fun it was? Get that feeling back. On the Spot Automotive Detailing. Let's spend like an hour, if not more, getting the job done right. 505-859-2859. That's the number. 505-859-2859, or visit them at otsdetailing.com. I got bad news for you. You got what? I got bad news for you.
This is Boomer Esiason with the Siembieda.
I'll just get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll
just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's going to fire at the buzzer, and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this. Stripped, stolen Watson. Kristen Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Couldn't have said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball line. Medina wants another one from deep. He wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we could see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Oh! Ho, ho, ho!
Played over to Madrid. Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With his first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hidon. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hidon. The two-hand hammer by Hidon. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Big Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
And he got it!
It's good.
Oh my God!
On the last second shot.
He did!
Oh
my God!
Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in. Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
in. 19 seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the.
Hunter Green takes a cut and pay and is the next Lobo. I'm kidding, kind of. He'd be good, though. All right, I was looking at Boise State's roster. They got transfers, 2 from Arizona, 1 from Oregon, 1 from East Tennessee. I mean, they're all over the place. But they've got a lot of homegrowns, and it kind of feels like the way to do this, doesn't it?
Yes, and it's Leon Rice has established a foundation. There's a level of expectations at Boise State. You're able to make it work, because they have a lot of impact transfers, and it's a tough balance. But you got to be able to play that game at a high level in the Mountain West if you want to compete for a conference championship.
All right, we'll get in as many as we can. Y'all want to call it 10 or 9:45 when the show ends at 10. But we'll get in as many as we can. No lines open for you at 505-246-0610. We'll start with Ray. Hello, Ray. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline.
How's it going, guys?
Good, Ray. What's up?
I think, I think we need to make a coaching change. It's not good for anyone to lose their job, but I think the only good year Paul Weir's had is when he got his first year, and it was somebody else's recruits. This year, this team that he has is all his recruits. And we don't have no one to blame but him, or no outside shooting whatsoever on this team. There's no. You got Brown. Brown can't shoot over 5 feet, and Singletary. I don't know what's happened with him the last 5 games. It looks like he's already given up the way he's been playing. But the guy from North Carolina's been hurt, and these are all his recruits, and they can't shoot a lickable from the outside at all. I think that's one of the big things. And I agree too. We should get transfers in. And I think with the new coach that comes in is going to have to get transfers in for rebuilding, because it doesn't. This team right here it's at the very bottom, buddy. Thank you.
All right, Ray. Thanks. You know, Rod Brown of all the transfers, and Francis I think is going to be good. Rod Brown's just offensive touch to me has been one of the most surprisingly disappointing, if anything, if that's the right way. I thought he was going to be a better scorer than that.
Well, were you presented that?
What do you mean, was I presented that?
Like, was that what he was sold as? I think that's the thing. Because when you see Rod Brown play, you're like, how could have someone sold him as an offensive player? No, he's just a rebound and defend type of guy that you're not running offense through.
Yeah, obviously not. Jerry, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Jerry.
Good morning, guys. My take on Paul Weir is that we all know that this has been a difficult year. It's been the most difficult in our history, and difficulties bring out the good and the bad in everybody, and it gives the good an opportunity to get better, and it gives the bad to get opportunity to get worse. And I don't fault the effort of the kids. I think they're trying, but there is no leadership. All Paul Weir's done is whine all year excuses, not unlike he did last year or the year before. So it's just a culmination of his 4th year. He's a bad coach. He came in and tried to press with one of the tallest teams the Lobos have ever had, which is stupid. But no, he had that in his mind. He brought this guy in to teach him the press. That experiment didn't work. He tried it again the next year. That experiment didn't work. The total Paul Weir experiment is a total flop. And if you compare him to Bradbury and the women, Bradbury's made a few comments about how tough it is, but they've played basketball. They haven't been whining about this and whining about that. Paul Weir is not a coach, period. He's an academician. Let him go do something academically, but he's horrible. So it's just, that's it. What do you got?
All right. Got it. No, Jerry, thanks. I'm certainly clear where you are. I'm going to tell you, I think there's going to be a change, and I haven't said that outwardly, but I know a lot of people feel like he does, and I wonder where Paul is on this. As far as explaining why we're at, and I know he's done that. Obviously, it's a result business. Last year was really tough. He put all his eggs in the transfer basket. It blew up on him. And then this year, is this year. I mean, for whatever it is you want to describe it. I think the way you got to look at it from Jerry's angle, and it's not totally wrong. Where's it going? Show me why I've got to believe it's going to be better next year. Do you feel the leadership, the recruitment, the talent, the development of players? Do you feel that it is going in the right direction? And that's really how you've got to evaluate this, right?
Yeah, and it's an evaluation over a 4-year period as well. I mean, if you want to look at this year differently, that's understandable from a evaluation standpoint, but then you still have the other 3 years that you have to address, and people see it. Like, this isn't, this is just a down year, let's bounce back. It's like, where's the payoff? It hasn't been there. There hasn't been that building towards something. Like, to your point, it was last year, then off the court issues, character situations arose, derailed that. Coming into this year where you try to clean slate it, get new players in there, they're really struggling, and you find yourself in last place.
All right. I apologize to those who we did not get on, and I encourage you to call in tomorrow. We are out of time, and I don't want to just jam you into a 30-second window and make you make your point. So I apologize to those of you who are holding, and we didn't get you on today, but I encourage you to get in tomorrow. Thanks to Jerry Palm for being with us today. Great work on the ProView side as always. If you guys haven't watched the show, please do. The production value and what they add to it is tremendous. You can watch it on the ProView Network's YouTube channel or on our Facebook page, The OD and the AM, or just go to ProViewNetworks.com. It's replayed at 3 o'clock every day. Micah, great work. Drive safely. Be careful. I guess you don't have to quarantine when you come back in the state, huh? That's good. Oh, that's good. JJ, enjoy the day. You don't have a game today, right?
Have a day, yo.
Yeah, be good to each other. Jim Rome show's next, and Colin Cowherd after that. Sports Bar at 4. We're back tomorrow with more award-winning radio starting at 7 a.m. Please be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll see you tomorrow.
Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand. And
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Far the ball at the end. Another steal by Davina Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. The lob, tagged by Osi, the one-hand hammer.
It up. And a drive from Palm.
Let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy. And it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovis.
That replay to just get the measurement. I mean, Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.